ahead on 12 News, a cold reality. A popular Plymouth destination loses heat, and it's still much warmer than the alternative. Then, looking to buy a new car? You're not alone.
This year we are selling more new than used for the first time in our history.
But first, a vicious mall attack, and one of the accused is from Brooklyn Park. 12 News starts right now. A Brooklyn Park woman accused of a vicious attack at the Mall of America made her first court appearance.
Police say 18-year-old LaTasia Cutler-Kane is one of the people who assaulted prominent businessman and politician Mark Andrew. 12 News reporter Sonia Goins has more.
When it happened, I was shocked.
You can still see the damage done to 63-year-old Mark Andrews' face. He was attacked last Thursday at the Starbucks at the Mall of America. Andrew says he was sitting at the Starbucks when he put his iPhone 4 on the table.
And a young kid snatched the phone off the table, and I immediately jumped up and yelled at him and then took off after him.
Andrew says shortly after the chase, 18-year-old LaTasia Cutler-Kane and a 17-year-old girl attacked him.
Two assailants jumped me from behind. One of them had a billy club, police issue, and beat me with full force many times.
The criminal complaint says that Cutler-Kane gouged Andrew in the face with her fingernails, and she screamed, "I'm going to kill you. Let me go, or I'm going to kill you."
They're both very angry women, and threw one of them off. She got up to run. I got up, tackled her, brought her to the floor, and the beating continued.
Andrew was taken to the hospital with cuts and bruises on his body.
I had 9 stitches in my head. I have a big gash in my mouth, making it very difficult to eat or drink.
He says he was never afraid during the attack. He's just hoping his assailants get help.
But I would tell them that even if they don't have love and support from their family, there's love for them somewhere in the community, and they have a chance to redeem their life.
Now, LaTasia Cutler-Kane has been charged with aggravated robbery and assault. She has no prior criminal history. The judge set bail at $50,000 with no conditions, or $25,000 with conditions. Now, Mike and Alex, I did speak with LaTasha's grandmother. She says she's so sorry about this incident, and she's working to get LaTasha help.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sonia. Police say cell phones can disappear in a moment, even while they're in use. One reason, phones can be sold back to retailers, or the parts can be sold for cash. Police say thieves are sometimes after more than just the phone itself.
For me, it's not so much the hardware, it's what's the data on there. I mean, there's people that are interested in that too. So I don't want to call it software, but the data that's on the telephone could be of value to someone, and it might have information on there that you don't want to share.
Police Chief Mike Goldstein says most phones stolen in Plymouth disappear from cars or at school. He recommends downloading apps that will encrypt private information on your phone. At the very least, you should be able to disable the phone remotely.
A reward is now offered to help solve the murder of a former Robbinsdale area school teacher. Lois Swenson was killed about a year and a half ago in her North Minneapolis home. An autopsy determined the 76-year-old had been beaten to death. Swenson taught 6th grade in the Robbinsdale district, spending most of her teaching career at Forest Elementary. She was also active in social justice work. Crime Stoppers of Minnesota and Minneapolis police are offering a $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and conviction. Well, it is not great timing for the cold temperatures we're experiencing across the state.
With school out of session, parents are desperate for indoor spaces for their kids to run off some of that energy. So where do they go? Cassie Bonstrom caught up with parents and kids at one Plymouth hotspot.
They just need space. It's a challenge most parents of young children face, especially during Minnesota winters.
You get cabin fever, you just have to get out of the house and do something.
And what do you do with little people who are big balls of energy? For some, the answer today was a trip to the field house at the Plymouth Creek Center.
We need to get somewhere warm so we can run.
Monday's high around 0 degrees was in sharp contrast to the winter thaw we had Friday and Saturday, when the sledding hill at Theodore Worth Park was packed. Today, it sits empty. Instead, the crowds could be found at the field house.
Plymouth resident.
Ironically, the heat inside the dome was broken.
But usually it's around 50 degrees.
Today, it hovered around 30 degrees.
I don't think the kids care, and this is actually one of the busier days we've had.
They're just happy to be running around.
And for this mom, the success of playtime was measured in a different way.
I think we're going to nap well today.
In Maple Grove, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
The Salvation Army hopes fundraising will warm up quickly. The religious organization hoped to raise $10.8 million, but with the December 31st deadline looming, it's about $2 million short of that goal. The Salvation Army hopes a last-minute rush of online donations will make up the difference. As the year draws to an end, there are signs that the gradual economic gains made since the recession will continue into the new year.
In this week's Business Matters, an improving market for homes and cars this year could be a good indicator for steady improvement in the economy for 2014. Home builders are building again. 2013 saw a housing market on the rebound after bottoming out 5 years ago during the recession.
Really, for us, it wasn't just a recession, it was really a depression. And now we're coming back out of it, and it is exciting.
For the first time since 2006, the number of residential building permits issued in the metro this year enabled the construction of more than 10,000 housing units. Maple Grove and Plymouth are among the top cities for housing growth. With interest rates still relatively low and the job market improving, housing market gains seen in 2013 bode well for the year to come.
Housing values are back up, looking much better, so product comes out on the market for sale, people do the move-up buy. All those factors, gas prices probably going to stay relatively low in 14. All those things feed into a pretty healthy 2014.
Buyers are back in the auto industry, too. Auto sales have grown by 50% in the U.S. since the dark days of 2009.
This year, we are selling more new than used for the first time in our history.
At Luther Brookdale Honda, sales are up 30% from 2012, with new car sales slightly outpacing used car sales. Consumers are more informed than ever when they hit the showroom floor, and they're taking advantage of manufacturer incentives, low interest rates, and high trade-in values.
Another thing that's driving new car sales is there is a shortage of used cars. It still continues that means your trade-ins have never been worth more.
Locally, the Brooklyn Center Honda dealers sold more than 4,000 cars in 2013. 2,200 of those were brand new cars. Still ahead, the top stories of 2013 takes us next to Plymouth and Golden Valley.
Then later in sports, Armstrong takes on Edina in a holiday basketball tournament title game.
But first, how many ways can you say it's cold? We likely won't see double digits above zero until Friday. We're visiting each of the 9 cities we cover to take another look at the biggest stories of 2013.
And today's Year in Review takes us to Golden Valley and Plymouth. Here's Delane Cleveland.
It was a year of construction in Golden Valley, where the City Council approved 2 new apartment projects near 394 and Xenia.
It's really a gateway area to both the West Metro, but then also to downtown. So we're sort of right in the middle of everything.
Golden Valley also hired a new Parks and Rec director. Rick Burno will oversee a massive renovation of 4 parks, where aging equipment will be replaced to enhance safety.
These are all considered community assets. Golden Valley has made a commitment to have strong community assets.
And Golden Valley voters elected some new faces to the City Council. Andy Snope.
Obviously very excited to have won this race.
Larry Fonest.
Just very pleased that it ended on a high note.
And Steve Schmidgall.
I got a lot of positive feedback from residents about the fact that I'm already on the council, and I believe that's extremely beneficial.
Just real bad, actually, real bad.
Moving on to Plymouth.
Very dark at that time of the morning, so the sky was just glowing yellow.
The fire in July destroyed more than a third of the units in a Vicksburg Village apartment building.
We had fire on all 3 levels of the building and into the attic when we arrived.
Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Will you turn to a neighbor and say, howdy?
Howdy. In September, the Wayzata School Board approved putting a $109 million bond referendum before voters in 2014. It would fund construction of a new elementary school and expansion of Wayzata High School.
The students are coming whether
it passes in February or not. So we need to ensure that we have accommodations to meet the need.
And this fall, Plymouth's West Lutheran High School hosted its first ever homecoming football game after years of renting space at other fields.
Just having it at West is a lot more special, and the fans can be a lot more interactive.
For the Year in Review, I'm Delane Cleveland.
And for the record, West Lutheran defeated Mesabi Academy in that homecoming football game 56-18. Coming up, Legos, robots, and some pink power mixed in.
But first in sports, the Park Center boys basketball team shoots for a tournament title. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back.
The Armstrong basketball team has to be pretty happy about the way things are going lately. I mean, a couple of big wins back to back.
The top 10 team, and they playing well through the holidays. The Armstrong boys basketball team didn't want to have a letdown after a big pre-Christmas overtime win over Osseo. The Falcons advanced to the title game of the 4-team Edina holiday tournament on Saturday. They faced the host Hornets in the final. The Falcons shoot well in the early going. Jerome Dixon knocking down a three-pointer from the corner. Sean Burns being guarded tightly, makes a nice spin move, and the shot drops for him. Then watch Melvin Newberg getting a hand on the ball, and the quick pass from Rejon Whitley sends Newbern in for the jam. Armstrong leads 32-22 at halftime. Ahad Haji, nice game for Edina, zips the hoop here and cutting the Armstrong lead down to 7 at 39-32. The Falcons never get rattled. Dixon cans a long three-pointer here. And the Falcons running the break. Newbern to Burns to Evan Nolan for the hoop. 5 Armstrong players scoring double figures, and the Falcons win 71-54. Cooper's boys basketball team hosted a new 4-team tournament. The Hawks didn't give themselves easy opponents, though. Cooper meeting Minneapolis Washburn in the first round. Late first half, Jacob Lindgren delivers the catch-and-shoot three-pointer for the Hawks. Final seconds of the half, Kevin Gleason beats the clock with a drive and layup. It's 41-33 Millers at halftime. Cooper starts the second half strong. Brandon Robinson, spin move, makes the crazy shot plus the foul. And then Lindgren gets the steal, flies in for the two-handed jam here. And that cuts the Millers' lead to 4 points. But Washburn doesn't fold. D'Angelo Pruitt-Cooper, great pass to Quentin Garvis underneath. Washburn goes on to win 70-64. Cooper lost to Kennedy on the second night of the tournament. Also in that tournament, in the semifinals, Park Center meeting Bloomington Kennedy. Dejon Davis rattling in a 3 for the Eagles and a 17-10 lead for them. The Pirates' Arion Farrar nearly has a ball stolen, recovers though and feeds Isaac Matthews for the dunk for Park Center. Later in the first half, Farrar driving hard for the basket. And he gets the hoop and is fouled. He nets 15 points in the first half, but Kennedy leads by 6 at the break. The lead grows to 12 in the second half on the fast break dunk here by Davis. But the Pirates then go on a run. Farrar to Amani Hooker, and Park Center leads it 63-60. Cannell Lewis keeps the Eagles in it, hitting 3 three-pointers in a row. But Farrar scores 26 points to lead all scorers, and Park Center holds on for a 77-76 win. They beat Washburn Saturday to win the tournament. In girls basketball, the Hopkins Royals played very well in the tournament they hosted, the Dick's Sporting Goods Classic. And they took on Anoka in the semifinals of the tournament. After a slow start for both teams, Hopkins picks up the pace. They go around the horn and inside to Liz Bolver, who scores 9 off the bench in the first half. Anoka really struggles with turnovers in this game. Molly O'Toole intercepts the pass and takes it all the way for the layup. She scores 10 points total in the game as Coach Brian Cosgrove's team takes over. Mariah Livingston blocks the pass and then takes it all the way and scores. And it's 14-6 Royals. Their defense really smothering Anoka in this game. Ashley Bates heats up for Hopkins. She pops in a three-pointer from the corner and then gets a layup in transition for Hopkins. Bates scores 13 all of the first half as Hopkins leads 42-17 at halftime on the way to an 82-58 win that really wasn't even that close. And Hopkins is just as good in the championship, beating a good Minnetonka team 69-47. Molly O'Toole had 21 points, Jazz Martin 14 to lead Hopkins. It's their 5th time winning the tournament in 7 tries. The Armstrong-Cooper girls hockey team beat Red Wing, the third-ranked team in Class A, in the semifinals of the All-Star Sports Holiday Classic. The Falcons then met Anoka in the championship game, a team they beat earlier this month. Second period, the Armstrong-Cooper defenseman falls down, and it leads to a 2-on-1 break for the Tornadoes. Gabrielle Horsch, the Blair parent, for the shot and goal, and the Tornadoes get on the board and they lead it 1-0. Later in the second period, Armstrong-Cooper's Marissa Odell steals the puck, feeds Emma Terrace for the one-timer. Molly Scarborough, though, with a nice save, and it stays 1-0. Armstrong-Cooper can't tie it in the final seconds of the game. Anoka wins the tournament championship 1-0. The Tornadoes had defeated Champlin Park in the semifinals. The tournament's been around since '96, and Anoka's been in it a couple times now, and they win it for the first time.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, why it's never too early to start thinking about the future.
Up next, the program that's helping a group of fourth grade girls break down barriers. No boys allowed. That's what a group of girls at Zanewood Elementary School is saying about their club.
But they don't meet on the playground. As Renee Bonneau reports, these fourth graders aren't interested in child's play.
How many degrees do we have it going right now?
In this fourth grade classroom, the learning begins before the first bell, but it doesn't feel like learning. These Zanewood Elementary students are part of a Lego League, a global robotics program designed to get kids excited about engineering, science, and technology. They're working on a challenge that requires them to create a robot game and work on a research project. Teacher Shirley Marriott says the program is like nothing she had when she was a child.
It was basically reading a text, answering questions, no really deep thinking. So this allows students to really think and problem solve.
Only 10 students could participate, and Zanewood decided to make it an all-girl group.
Oftentimes, when they get to a certain age, they kind of fall off from that. They lack that interest. So we want to really encourage that.
And she's not alone. Boston Scientific helped buy supplies for the group and even sent one of its engineers to be a volunteer coach.
Me being a young female engineer, I thought it'd be a good way to inspire the girls.
While the students' mission is nearly complete, their coaches hope this experience instills in the girls a long-term goal in a science or engineering career.
They're very eager. When they first started, it was fun to see. They would just run into the classroom and still have their winter jackets on, and it was fun to see that.
In Brooklyn Park, Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
Next month, the girls will use their project to compete against other students in the state. Zanewood Elementary hopes to expand this program to 2 groups next year. And that's all for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow beginning at 4 o'clock.